Sup guys, event. Alright, today I want to talk more about Tupac Shakur and why I think he's still alive, living in Cuba with Assata Shakur, his step-aunt and godmother. For those of you who don't know, this is Assata Shakur, Tupac's step-aunt and godmother. She is thought to still currently be living in Cuba. She's on the FBI's most wanted terrorist list. Her real name is Joanne Deborah Chesimard, but her alias right here is Assata Shakur, and she is related to Tupac. You can Google it to confirm that she is related to Tupac, and she got political asylum in Cuba in 1979. She killed a police officer in a bank robbery. She's basically a bank robber, also a Black Panther, as Tupac's mom, Afeni Shakur, was a Black Panther, and Tupac was also known or even declared himself a Black Panther many times. So it's no secret that Tupac was a Black Panther. His family were black. His entire family was Black Panthers. He was involved in the Black Panther organization in one way or another. But this is a bit of a recap. I'm just letting people who might not have seen part one on my video that this is the lady I'm talking about. This is Tupac's step-aunt and godmother, Assata Shakur. See, what you have to understand about Tupac is that he comes from a family with the history of fighting against the U.S. government. Almost everyone in Tupac's family was a member of the Black Panther Party, including his mother. And I just brought this up to show you guys. In October of '66 in Oakland, California, Huey Newton and Bobby Seale founded the Black Panther Party for self-defense. The Panthers practiced militant self-defense of minority communities against the U.S. government and fought to establish revolutionary socialism through mass organizing and community-based programs. So when talking about Tupac, you need to realize that this is much bigger than rap. Tupac was way more than just a rapper. Not only was he a political activist, but he was also a member of the Black Panther Party. Tupac and his family, they were actually doing things in a revolutionary fashion against the U.S. government, and the government did not like his family, did not like him, and they would probably rather had him dead. It's no big mystery that the government was running operations against Black Party leaders during the 60s. Martin Luther King, Malcolm X. Basically, the government did not want a black political party during the 60s. That is what the Black Panthers were fighting the government for. They were fighting the government to establish their own political party and establish control of their own communities. This was all during the 60s. Then Tupac came around, and this is where the story gets interesting. Tupac was born in the late 70s, so let's fast forward a little bit. We fast forward to in the 90s when Tupac really started blowing up and getting popular. Afeni and Assata probably realized that Tupac could make change. Tupac could make bigger change than they had been able to make in the last 40 years without any type of revolutionary act. Tupac he could have used his fame and his music and his lyrics to basically make change, make good change, make a lot of change for the Black Panthers. Afeni probably realized this. Assata probably realized this. They realized that Tupac was the freaking golden child. He was like a godsend for the Panthers. He could make change where nobody else could, and he could make change a lot faster than they could with a lot less violence just by using his music and his lyrics. You know, every race of people listen to Tupac music. White people, black people, Asians, Mexicans, almost every race of people thought well of Tupac, and he could have easily used that in a political setting. Tupac could have ran for president, or he could have done something politically, and he has a lot of fans, so a lot of people would have backed him up, and the government knew this, and they did not want this. The U.S. government knew how embedded Tupac was with the Black Panthers, and once you have a celebrity with that many fans, talking about revolutionary type political stuff, he's rallying the people behind him. Once you have that, Tupac becomes no different than a Martin Luther King or a Malcolm X. He's exactly the same. He's a high profile black guy who's trying to become some sort of political leader and form their own political party. The government did not want this. You really have to understand this. This is very important. This is why Tupac faked his death. And you can say Tupac was a loudmouth. He wouldn't have faked his death. Yeah, Tupac was a loudmouth, but he also wasn't a freaking idiot. And he knows that one man cannot defeat the government. He saw with Assata could not defeat the government. She had to go in political asylum. They were going to capture her and they were going to put her in jail for life. He saw that she couldn't defeat him, and I guarantee you that Afeni, Tupac's mother, told him that you cannot fight the government alone. You need to go into political asylum in Cuba and you need to just lay low. If you look at all the clues Tupac left in his lyrics about faking his death, changes his name to Machiavelli, it's almost like that this was the plan all along. You know, Afeni and Tupac could have had this plan where he would fake his death, she would become head of his estate, you know, he could lay low in Cuba and still come out with more records dead. All his records would be worth a lot more money. You know, his fan base would skyrocket because he's dead and he's not coming out with anything else apparently, you know. So it all would work out in the benefit, because Tupac would no longer be getting harassed by the U.S. government. You know, they were pulling him in court for anything. He was in so many court cases, in and out of court. If you just go and look it up, you know, Tupac court case. It's just court case after court case after charge after charge. They're just charging him with everything they can charge him with just to put him in prison. And so it would benefit them in the fact that he wouldn't have to deal with the government anymore. He could lay low and he could still make money. Okay, now I'm going to show you guys a clip that proves that not only did Tupac know who Assata Shakur was, but that he actually looked up to her as a role model, as someone that, you know, he could follow in her footsteps and learn something from.
First of all, role models. Did you have any role models growing up?
Yes, a lot of strong
Who were they?
Assata Shakur.
So there you have proof that not only did Tupac know about Assata Shakur, but he states that one of his role models was Assata Shakur. This is someone he looked up to. This is someone he took notes from. This is someone that he would follow in her footsteps and learn things from. Now let's take a look at who else Tupac looked up to. Let's take a look at who else Tupac took notes from. Tupac also looked up to Niccolo Machiavelli, an Italian war strategist and philosopher who wrote about faking his death to fool his enemies. Therefore, when Tupac changed his name to Machiavelli and then passed away, many believe that he faked or staged his own death. So here you have Tupac looking up to Assata Shakur, a woman who escaped the United States government and gained political asylum in Cuba, and he's also looking up to Niccolo Machiavelli that faked his death to baffle his enemies. I mean, you can't write this stuff. It's like everything lines up so perfectly. It's almost like he planned it. It's like it baffles my mind. It's like, how does all this stuff line up so perfectly prior to your death without you planning it? It doesn't make sense to me. Okay, now I want to show you guys a clip from Tupac's video, I Wonder If Heaven Got a Ghetto, where it shows Tupac basically getting political asylum in Cuba in this video. I'm going to have to mute this video for copyright reasons, but I'm going to let you hear the very first part, and then I will discuss through the clip what I'm talking about and what you are seeing. Okay, so you can hear the helicopter. He's in a helicopter. In 1996, it says Rutgers, New Mexico, which is Shakur spelled backwards, New Mexico. He gets out of the helicopter and then he faints. Okay, so now here you have a music video, one of Tupac's last music videos, where he's in a helicopter landing in New Mexico, right? Now, who said that they saw him getting in a helicopter on the night of his death? Page Hemis. That's exactly what Page Hemis said. It was a long time ago. I saw a helicopter ambulance, one of those medical ones. When I heard shots fired, I hit the deck. Now we have a video that's basically corroborating exactly what Page Hemis said she saw that night. She says she saw Tupac getting into a helicopter, and then all of a sudden we have this music video where Tupac's in a helicopter landing in Rutgers, which is Shakur spelled backwards, New Mexico. Like, it's almost like they're in your face kind of trying to hint that they don't really mean New Mexico, because there is no Rutgers, Shakur, New Mexico, that they're actually talking about Cuba. And there's even more proof that they're hinting that Tupac is in Cuba in this I Wonder If Heaven Got a Ghetto video, because at the end of this video, there's a certain car of a certain make and model. Okay, look at the car that picks Tupac up at the end of I Wonder If Heaven Got a Ghetto music video. Look at the car, look at the make, look at the model. What kind of car does that look like? Where do you see cars like that in the world? Tell me where you see cars like that. Check this out. I Googled cars in Cuba. Look at that car right there. Tell me that's not almost the exact same car in the I Wonder If Heaven Got a Ghetto video. Look at that car. That is literally the exact same type of model and make of car that's in that video. It's the exact same kind of cars they have in Cuba. It's right in front of your face. It's right there. They are hinting at Tupac being alive, living in Cuba, gaining political asylum in Cuba, just like Asata. I mean, why of all cars did they choose to put that car in that music video? A music video that's revolving around his death. They chose a car from Cuba for a video where he supposedly dies in it, and then he ends up in New Mexico, which in reality is actually Cuba, in a car that looks surprisingly Cuban. It looks just like the cars that you see in Cuba, especially if you've seen The Godfather, one of the Godfather movies. Just look at all the cars in Cuba during the Godfather movie. It's the exact same car. It's like in your face. They're hinting at it right to you. Okay, now I want to go back to Paige Hemis, because a lot of people speculate that Paige Hemis knows more than what she's saying, that she was like a plant put there on the night of the Tyson fight, to say that Tupac was put in an ambulance or put in a helicopter or whatever. So I decided to look deeper into Paige Hemis to see if her and Tupac were friends, did they have any sort of connection or anything like that, and I was freaking blown away by what I found. All right, so let me show you this clip. It's in 1995 on the set of California Love, the music video. All right, so here's the clip I wanted to show you guys. It's Tupac, Suge, Dr. Dre, and Chris Tucker on the California Love 95 video. And it's all them hanging out. There's Tucker, Dre, and then who else is there? Let's see who else is there. Right there. Who is that right there? That is Paige Hemis right there, hanging out with Tupac. There's a connection right there. I know that's her. That looks just like Paige Hemis. No offense, Paige, but you got a kind of a big nose. That is Paige Hemis hanging out with Tupac, Dre, and Suge, and even Chris Tucker on the set of California Love in 1995. I swear to God, she knows more than she's saying, because I caught this clip, it just shows just the very little side of her face. If that's not her, I swear that's her twin, because they both have blonde hair. They both have somewhat bigger noses. That looks just like Paige Hemis. That's a connection right there between Paige Hemis and Tupac. I don't know if Tupac hooked her up with the TV show or what, but after her 1996 clip where she says she saw Tupac get into a helicopter, all of a sudden she gets famous, and here she is right here on the set of California Love in 1995 hanging out with Tupac. It's just too much of a coincidence for someone to look exactly like her hanging out with Tupac and them on the California Love video, and then she just happens to be in the right place at the right time in 96, where she just happens to see Tupac getting in a helicopter. It's just too big of a coincidence. There's something fishy there, and I think that she's not telling her whole story. She's holding something back. I think she knows something about Tupac being still alive that she's just not saying anything, but I know for a fact that that is Paige Hemis. Now there's one last thing I want to show you guys. It's just something really small that I thought was really odd and really weird. So let me just show you guys this real quick and then we'll talk about it. Alright, so many of you have probably heard that Afeni Shakur died May 2nd, 2016, right? Tupac's mom passed away. And I thought it was kind of weird because you didn't really hear anything on TV, it's not like when Prince died, you saw all this stuff on like CNN. But this is basically the father of rap in my eyes. Tupac's mother died, and you don't see anything on TV. There's no real tribute or memorial to her. She kind of just fades off into the shadows and like just dies, real quiet, real subtle. So I thought that was kind of weird, so I just started looking into Afeni, and here's what I found. So many of you know that Afeni Shakur died May 2nd, 2016, and I want to note that she died at age 69. Then you look into Niccolo Machiavelli, and Machiavelli was born on May 3rd, 1469. Afeni dies May 2nd, 2016. Machiavelli is born May 3rd, 1469, and she died at age 69. Tell me that is not weird. Is that not more than a coincidence? What is that? I'm not saying she faked her death or something. I'm just saying it's kind of weird that she dies one day before Machiavelli is born, and she dies at the same age as the same year he's born. That is just like one of the most weirdest things to me. It's almost more than a coincidence. It's like another hint that, I don't know, maybe she did fake her death as well, and she just went to Cuba with Tupac. I don't know. All I know is that is freaking weird, and I don't understand it. She freaking dies May 2nd at 69 years old. Machiavelli's born May 3rd, 1469. Someone please leave a comment and explain that to me. Something's weird here. And that's pretty much the gist of this video, but honestly, I think Tupac's alive. I think he's living in Cuba. There's just too many clues. There's too many hints. All roads lead to Cuba. I'm pretty sure he's still alive. You know, obviously it's been so long. Obviously, like I said before, we can never be fully sure unless he comes back or somebody finds him. But I am like 60-40, like I said before. I'm 60% chance that he's alive, 40% chance he's dead. And I'm pretty sure he's living in political asylum in Cuba with Assata Shakur. And you have to understand that there's always going to be those people out there that say, oh no, he's dead, just shut up, Tupac's dead, he's been dead for 20 years. And it's like, if everyone was going to believe that he was still alive, then he wouldn't have needed to fake his death. You know what I'm saying? If everyone was going to just believe that he was alive, then it wouldn't be a good plan to fake your death. That's why I know he faked his death, because if you really look into it, it really starts to look like he faked his death. But if you don't really look into it, then it's easy to just write it off and say, yeah, he was killed in 96, he's dead, he's gone, that's it. But honestly, I think Tupac is alive, and I think he is living in political asylum in Cuba with Assata. I am pretty damn sure about it. I've looked into it heavily, and that is my conclusion. So yeah, that's pretty much all I gotta say on this topic for now. I might do a part 3 depending on the response to this video. As always, thanks for watching. This is Event Horizon. Peace out.